Welcome back, family. Grand Rising, first frequency of oneness, shock metaphysics. It's your guy, the ball wonder himself, Reverend Dr. Philippe Shock Matthews, aka the Metaphysical Morpheus, and we got him back. We got him back because you know him for his three-volume series, Kicked Out of Heaven, and we had a heck of a 2023 with that. But now it is time for something new in 2024, and we getting ready to kick down the door in 2024 with the Encyclopedia on the Alchemy of Women with none other than Brother Keenan Booker. What's going on, dude?
What's going on with you, my friend? What is going on? Okay. Um, yeah, that January, the beginning of the year has been a little interesting ride with this book. I wrote it, I published it, put it out, and I'm like, I just let it sit there, because it's an encyclopedia, it's reference material. And it
Right.
goes over so many different subjects that you don't really know where to grab, who to grab, how to grab, because I'm talking to there's definitions for cosmetics and the chemicals in them. There's definitions for, complexes, the Cinderella complex. We'll be going over the Medusa complex today in this PowerPoint. We also have definitions of girls' names. There's a lot of saints involved. There's a lot of Shakespeare inside the literature. I even have the females from cartoons from Walt Disney. The whole thing is in there. So when it
Wow, that's
says,
crazy.
what'd you say now?
I said that's crazy, man. But what I love about it is that we're starting this conversation off with the black Egyptian goddesses, and that I don't think a lot of people know about.
Right. Well, especially in our community, we go over the popularized gods and goddesses.
Sure.
We don't go over the whole pantheon. And it's a
Hmm.
large pantheon to, but we're talking about what? Egypt had 27 dynasties, am I correct?
Yep.
Yeah, so there's
Yep.
27 look at that 72 backwards. So, there's
There,
27
there it is.
dynasties. Yeah, it's everywhere, bro. I'm gonna tell
I
you.
know, right? Do the math, family. Do the math.
So, um yeah, there's a lot of female goddesses that don't get the light and the power in which they should when we want to talk about taking our stuff back. So we're going to talk about Hecate a little bit. There's two Hecates. There's the Hecate for medieval, which is the goddess witch, basically the head goddess witch, but in ancient Egypt, she's the frog-headed goddess.
Mm.
Okay. So we're going to
Hmm.
talk about that. We're going to go in on Kadesh, who is the sacred prostitute of ancient Egypt coming out of Memphis. We're going to talk about Tarawet. Tarawet is the female hippo goddess who is actually at the center of the Egyptian map for their astrology system. When you go over the Egyptian astrology system, it's in the circle map. Right at the middle of it is Tarawet, which is the hippo goddess. And the hippo, one thing that's unique about the hippopotamus is that um, they're of the same species as the dolphins and the sperm whales and all of that, but she's the only one with legs.
Mm. Fascinating.
Right,
Fascinating.
right. And then
You're going
also
deep into
she's
this science.
feared. What'd you say now?
I said you're going deep into this science, brother. I love it.
Oh yeah, and that's another thing is the paying attention of the animals. You have to pay attention to what the significance is of the owls or the different animals that are being used as the headdresses for Egyptian goddesses, and also in every other mythology system. There's
Absolutely.
a there's a very there's a highly detailed reason why they use those specific animals in representation of what you know
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
for instance, the scarab beetle and the sun disk is what they call it. And the
Mm-hmm.
scarab beetle, and that's not really a sun disk, that's the scarab beetle and the dung ball. It's the dung beetle
Mm.
that they're looking at, right? It's not
Mm-hmm.
so,
Mm-hmm. Right.
so let's get it right or what was going
Let's get it
on.
right for educational. Everybody doesn't know and
Yeah,
understand.
so
Yeah.
I'm not we're gonna go when dealing with me in Egypt. I like uniqueness, I like details, so we're gonna go in on a lot of areas that aren't publicly known. And then there's also some popularized ones in here. There's Nefertiti, I didn't put in Cleopatra. Cleopatra is really a rank, is not really a specific goddess or a specific pharaohess or anything of that nature. It's a rank title. So just like the
Now I'm
name
also going to
Candace.
put in. I'm going to put in the chat community.
Mhm.
There's a special that you have going on, half off.
Right. I do have that going on. You can go to thewomansalchemy.com and get both volumes right now for $100. You cannot get that anywhere else, and you will not be able to get it again from me once my copies are gone. And I only have so many left. I just gave
Plus, you autograph them too. I like that part.
yeah, I give a certificate of authenticity. I even did that with Floyd Mayweather, and he was ecstatic when he got the literature.
Tell me about that, man. I saw that photo with you and Floyd, and I said, "Dude has got the book in front of the right people." What happened? How did you meet brother Floyd?
Well, me and Floyd have actually like indirectly ran into each other many times here in Las Vegas, but it wasn't as powerful and astounding as what occurred the other day. He was presenting his new alcohol that he is promoting. It's called Good Money. It's a Canadian whiskey. So he was signing bottles. So I said, hey, let me go ahead and pull up and gift him the books specifically because of his own achievements, where he stands at in the city. And then he also owns Girl Collection, which is a strip club out
Mm,
here.
mm.
So I said, let me, go ahead and give it to him. And he shut down the whole event for me. Then he played my music too. He made the
Wow.
DJ play my music. He shut down the whole event to ask me questions about the books. And hopefully he gives me a call. And if he does, boy, y'all about to see some wildness. You understand me?
Let me
you know?
let me and he means that, family. I felt
Yeah.
that. Let me put this up on the screen. Colin Pierre, thank you, brother. He says, all I can say, your books are worth every penny and more. Thank you. Yeah,
Thank
your
you.
books are changing lives, brother. Your books are changing lives. And in this presentation, beloved, you're going to show. I love this because you did this and you showed maps, these crazy, crazy, nutty maps that the Europeans created. You did this in Kicked Out of Heaven series when we were doing our series of webinars last year. But
Mhm.
you also, in this presentation, there's a love map or something, right? That you're going to be
Yeah, we have a
presenting.
map of the woman's heart, and we have a map of, I think it's marriage, but there's other maps. There's more maps inside the volume 2. So I just
Okay,
chose
okay.
2, but I think I put a couple of more in there as well, because they had a map of marriage, a map of love, a map of the woman's heart, a map of a woman's love, and they it's all socialism. It's phenomenal how much power is embedded into our everyday socialism, and we don't even know it. We don't even
Social engineering,
know.
brother. Absolutely.
With even with the map of utopia that you were referring to, that came out of the Kicked Out of Heaven, I was astounded when I found that, because when I
Yeah.
found it, it was just
I didn't
words, but
I
then I
didn't know
had
any
to look.
such thing existed.
Right, and then I had to look it up, and I had to blow it up on the screen to see the words,
Yeah, yeah.
and yeah, that's what happened. And even with the map of love or the map of the woman's heart that we're going to go over, some of those locations have names that I've lived in. Like there's a Fort Bliss, and Fort Bliss is actually in El Paso, Texas, and that's I've lived in.
Wow. Wow. Crazy.
Yeah,
Crazy, dude. Insane. All right.
yeah,
Well, I think we've teased them enough, right?
yeah. Let's go ahead.
Let's go ahead and get in it.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Okay, so here we go, ladies and gents. The Encyclopedia on the Alchemy of Women. Let's start out with the big debate, okay, which is the first one, which is Allah. Okay, a lot of people say Allah was a woman and da 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 and this and that. Well, we went and found the origin of Allah, and let's go into the definition here. Allah, late Islamic masculization of the Arabian goddess Allah too, of the Babylonians, formerly worshipped at the Kaaba in Mecca. It has been shown that the Allah of Islam was a male transformation of the primitive lunar deity Arabia. Her ancient symbol, the crescent moon, still appears on Islamic flags, even though modern Muslims no longer admit any feminine symbolism or whatever connected with the holy patriarchal Allah. Okay. Now, who is Allah? Allah is also spelled Allah too, Alilat, is a pre-Islamic Arabian goddess worshipped under various associations throughout the entire Arabian Peninsula, including Mecca.
That's
Here
huge.
she
You're gonna
was
have these people
worshipped
chasing you
alongside.
down the street, bro.
Go
This is
ahead.
huge. I said this is huge. You're gonna have these people chasing you down the street.
I got a picture over here too. Let's keep going. So here she was worshipped alongside Manat and Al Uzza as one of the daughters of Allah. The word Alat or Elat has been used to refer to various goddesses in the ancient Near East, including the goddess Asherah Atharat, the goddess of war, peace, combat, and prosperity. There are two possible etymologies of the name Allah. Medieval Arab lexicographers derived the name from the verb lata, to mix or knead barley meal. Okay, that's important right there, is the to mix or knead, because that's also relative to foods, gumbo, thing of that nature, right? So it has also been associated with the idol of jealousy erected in the Temple of Jerusalem, according to the Bible, Ezekiel 8:5. The idol was offered an oblation of barley meal by the husband who suspected his wife of infidelity. It can be inferred from Al-Kabi's Book of Idols that a similar ritual was practiced in the vicinity of the image of Allah. Another etymology takes Allah to be the feminine form of Allah. She may have been known originally as Al-Ilat, based on Herodotus' attestation of the goddess as Alilat. Elat, the goddess, the feminine form of El. Compare Allah and Kadesh or Kadut or Kadshu is holiness. Beginning during the 18th dynasty of Egypt, a Semitic goddess named Katesh, which is holiness, sometimes reconstructed as Kadshu, appears prominently. So we'll be going over Kadesh here before we're out today. Okay, so this is one of the original images of Allah, and this image is not in the encyclopedia. So I'll pre-warn you right now that some of the images you'll be seeing today are not inside the encyclopedia, and I will state which ones are. Okay.
Can you make that a little larger?
Yeah, it's kind of faint.
There you go.
Okay.
Oh, awesome.
All right. And then we have Amazon. What is an Amazon? And this is only a clip of the definition of the Amazon inside the encyclopedia. The definition for Amazon takes about 1 to 2 pages. So just to let you know. An Amazon, Greek name for goddess worshiping tribes in North Africa, Anatolia, and the Black Sea area, due to an erroneous belief that Amazon warriors destroy the right breast to be unhindered in drawing the bow. Some derive the name from Amazos, which means breastless. But Greek representations of Amazon showed no such mutilation. The idea may have risen from Asiatic icons of the primal androgyny with a male right half and a female left half, echoed by a coalescence of the Amazon goddess Artemis with her brother consort Apollo. Scholars now say the word Amazon meant moon woman. Suetonius, from 69 to 122 is his time period of life, said Amazons once ruled over a large part of Asia. As late as the 5th century AD, the Black Sea was still known as the Amazon Sea. Libya, which used to mean all of North Africa except Egypt, was also Amazonian. Herodotus spoke of Libyan Amazons. Diodorus, first century Greek historian, called them the warlike women of Libya. To this day, North African Berbers call themselves Amazigh, though their common name came from Latin Barbary, which is short for barbarians. Greek myth says Amazon tribes occupied Cappadocia, Samothrace, and Lesbos, founded the cities of Smyrna, Ephesus, Symes, Marine, and Paphos, all leading centers of goddess worship. And we all know Lesbos is an island off of the coast of Greece, which was called that because women were sent there, and that's where Sappho's uh, conducted her poetry and things of that nature. So, as it states in the book, though, it goes into a little bit more detail um, relative to this word right here, meaning breastless. So, where the theory comes from about Amazons is that they had to cut off their left breast, I think it was, or their right breast, one or the other, depending on if they were left or right-handed, so they could use bow and arrows better and have a better aim. And because they took on that courageous feat, then they were called Amazons, but there is no statues of representation of that activity. So there's a very large debate on if Amazons were a real thing or if they were a mythical thing. Okay.
Wow.
But psychologically, it definitely represents the natural defiance that women have towards men, due to the fact men build up a lot of stuff. Women just, it's in the genetic code, it's in the gender history that they had just got to defy and nigga, I don't need you type of thing. So we're going to keep going here. Candace is originally African, a royal title from the Bible, ultimately deriving from the term Candake, a title for a queen or queen mother in the ancient African kingdom of Kush. Pliny writes that the queen of the Ethiopians bore the title Candace and indicates that the Ethiopians had conquered ancient Syria and the Mediterranean. You can also find this in the word Candy. Okay. So to shorten it to something small, sweet, and sugary, also maintains the same level of essence with what a queen of the people is supposed to be. Sweet. All right. So this is Hecate. Now this is the this is the Hecate of the medieval and of Greece that we're going to be talking about here. Well, hold on. Yeah, because Hecate stems for Greece, but you really don't see her true power until the medieval is developed, and then we have witchcraft, which falls directly up underneath Hecate. All right, so Hecate is one of the oldest Greek versions of the Trinitarian goddess. Hecate was derived from the Egyptian midwife goddess Hecate, but it's spelled Hequet, who in turn evolved from the Hek, or tribal matriarch of pre-dynastic Egypt, a wise woman in command of all the Hekal, or mother's words of power. As a heavenly midwife, amalgamating the seven Hathors of the birth chamber, Hecate delivered the sun god every morning. Her totem was the frog, symbol of the fetus, and this animal was still sacred to her 4,000 years later when she became the Christians' queen of witches. In Greece, Hecate was one of the many names for the original feminine trinity, ruling heaven, earth, and the underworld. Hellenes tended to emphasize her crone or underworld aspect, but continued to worship her at places where three roads met, especially in rites of magic, divination, or consultation with the dead. Her images guarded where three-way crossroads met. It's especially in rites of magic, divination. Oh, I'm sorry about that. Yeah. Thus she was Hecate trivia. A Hecate of the three ways. Offerings were left at her roadside shrines on nights of the full moon. As a deity of magic and prophecy, she was invoked by those who set out on journeys, like the biblical king of Babylon, who stood at the parting of the way at the head of the two ways to use divination. He made his arrows bright. He consulted with images. You can refer to Ezekiel chapter 21, verse 21 in the Bible. During the early Middle Ages, Hecate became known as Queen of the Ghost World, or Queen of the Witches. She was especially diabolized by Catholic authorities, who said the people most dangerous to the faith were precisely those whom Hecate patronized, the midwives. Her ancient threefold power was copied, however, by priestly writers who reassigned it to their own deity, the threefold power of Christ, namely in heaven, earth, and hell. Okay. And that is,
Incredible information, brother.
yeah, this is the Greek Trinitarian Hecate goddess right here. This is the Greek statue, the Greek version. Okay.
But it
This
started.
is
You said it started Egyptian, though. Is that right?
right. I'm about to show you the Egyptian right now.
Okay, this is
The,
fascinating.
the Egyptian is spelled with the Q, so it comes a little bit later in the H, underneath the H letter in the encyclopedia. Okay.
Okay.
So, and these two pictures are not inside the encyclopedia. But as you notice here, I'll blow up the picture before I get to reading. You see, she has the frog head right here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the frog head goddess Hecate is the origin of the Hecate in ancient Greece, which also goes into um the witchcraft, and she maintains the symbol of the frog. And the frog is in reminiscence of the uterus because of its webbed feet, its webbed fingers. When you hold a frog's hands all the way out, its webbed fingers symbolizes the uterus holding the eggs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Right. And then it's eggs, you see, and frogs are definitely the master of the egg realm. Okay. So the name is written as HQT with the determinative frog. The phonetic spelling may use the bilateral HQ hieroglyph in place of unilateral H. The alternative from HQTYT adds an explicit feminine ending used alongside the egg, determinative to emphasize the deity's femininity. The Middle Egyptian pronunciation of the name may have been close to, which has been proposed, among other possibilities, as the origin of the name of the Greek Hecate. Hecate, sometimes spelled Heket, is an Egyptian goddess of fertility identified with Hathor, represented in the form of a frog. To the Egyptians, the frog was an ancient symbol of fertility, related to the annual flooding of the Nile. Hecate was originally the female counterpart of Khnum, or the wife of Khnum, by whom she became the mother of Herer. It has been proposed that the name is the origin of the name of Hecate, the Greek goddess of witchcraft. Now, what is most important is when they said to the Egyptians the frog was an ancient symbol of fertility related to the annual flooding of the Nile, and that is what the energy is based behind a lot of these entities. So, for instance, there's a crocodile headed god in ancient Egypt. His name is Sebek, and he has the definition of a pimp. To be honest, it takes basically what he does is he takes your woman, and he takes the woman away from the wife. I mean, away from the husband, and does what he wants with her at his will. But what that's also symbolizing is, you know, for a woman at that time to be washing their clothes on the coast may get snatched up by a crocodile.
Excellent.
You see that?
Great research.
You see
Mm-hmm.
that? So the wife that's washing the clothes at the riverbank might get snatched up by the crocodile, and they took that energy and they made it into an Egyptian god. And you got to read it because there's a lot of sexual connotation that they mixed in with that as well. And his name is Sebek. It's Sobek. Okay, it's crocodile headed god. And then crocodiles, the pimps today where they brag about crocodile shoes, right?
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm.
see?
Great connection. Great connection.
This shit is phenomenal. That's what,
Only somebody living in Las Vegas would figure that out. Only you, Keenan. Only you, bro. Swear to
you
God.
know.
No
This shit
one
is
else.
phenomenal. That's all I'm telling you, man. I gotta chill with this writing book stuff because the stuff that comes at me and what's really so
What
crazy
happens in
about it.
stays in
Go ahead,
Vegas.
go ahead.
Keenan's books, okay?
What's really so crazy about it is that we listen to scholars who try to make these things so complex when they're really so simple.
Mm.
And there is a complexity that is true to it, But you must find the simplicity first, because it's like the ground you walk on. You walk on grass, you walk on concrete. That's simple, but we can put the Eiffel Tower on top of that concrete, and that's complex. We could put the redwood forest on top of that grass, and that's complex. So you have to have a simple system for your motherboard before you can develop complexities. You see what I'm saying?
Got it. Love
And
it.
a lot of the information that we deal with, or the people who is presenting it, wants to bring the complexity to, so you don't get to the simplicity and you stay in idolization of the complexity. Like we idolize the Eiffel Tower and not the concrete it's on. We idolize the redwood forest and not the grass that it's on. We idolize the pyramids and not the sand that it's on. You see?
Right, right.
Right.
Let me get a shout out to the audience. Shout out to Akil, who calls me the Uncle Phil of philosophy. What's going on, my beloved brother? Been with me for so long, I can't even remember when he started. Thank you, brother,
Mhm.
for being with me. Carla Miller from your channel, from your YouTube, brother.
Okay.
Jelani is with us. Colin Pierre, thank you again. Melvin Reed, back with us again. Thank you, brother, for being with us. And a little, what is that? A little something. A little tri-lamb. A little tri-lamb. Thank you very much for being with us, goddess. All right, keep going, my bro.
Okay. Well, I know where everybody wants to know about the big one, which is Ma'at. And Ma'at is law, but we have to thoroughly understand what law is in the context of ancient Egypt. Ancient Egypt's law is based off of socialism, and that's why it's so complex when it comes to their hieroglyphs and things of that nature, because socialism can go left, it can go right, it can merge, it merges over time, words change, they change by octave, they change by definition, character, so on and so forth. And we've had a lot of sciences shoved in front of our faces, but the only science that all sciences are built upon is social science, and that's your words. So Ma'at is definitely the ruler and the law line of what etiquette is, and that's your social interaction and your behavior. So here we go. Ma'at refers to the ancient Egyptian concepts of truth, balance, order, harmony, law, morality, and justice. Ma'at was also the goddess who personified these concepts and regulated the stars, seasons, and the actions of mortals, and the deities who had brought order from chaos at the moment of creation. Watch that. Now, order from chaos at the moment of creation is the three steps of the beginning of life. Okay.
Phenomenal.
So the female is chaos, and to bring out order is the child at the moment of creation. Okay.
Wonderful.
And
Excellent.
Ma'at is the system that the female teaches the infant in order to survive in the world, which is once
Mm-hmm,
again social sciences, right?
mm-hmm.
You see that? So let's keep going. Her ideological opposite was Isfet, or hissy fit, is where we may get that word from. And the goddess that's inside the word hissy fit is actually Isfet, which is the opposite goddess of Ma'at. Okay.
You go
And
ahead and
she's
do that damn research. You go ahead and do that research, dude. You go ahead on Las Vegas. I ain't mad at you.
you know, so hissy fit, to have a hissy fit, is really the goddess Isfet inside that word, which
You got to be of
means
a certain age to even know what that is. Some of us, some of the people watching me like, what is that? I'm like, yeah, you got to have certain parents. You
oh,
got to
oh,
come.
hissy fit. Yeah, that term's not even used anymore, huh?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah, right. So meaning
You got to have a couple
injustice.
gray hairs in order to know what that means.
Yeah, right. I think I have temper tantrum inside the book too. So which is a synonymous word to hissy fit. But anyways, meaning injustice, chaos, violence, or to do evil is what isfet means. Okay. Now, the earliest surviving records indicating that Ma'at is the norm of for nature and society in this world and the next were recorded during the Old Kingdom of Egypt. The earliest substantial surviving examples being found in the pyramid texts of Unas, which was 2375 BCE and 2345 BCE. Later, when most goddesses were paired with a male aspect, her masculine counterpart was Thoth, as there attributes are similar. In other accounts, Thoth was paired off with Seshat, the goddess of writing and measure, who is a lesser known deity. After her role in creation and continuously preventing the universe from returning to chaos, her primary role in ancient Egyptian religion, dealt with the weighing of the heart that took place in the duat. Her father was the measure that determined whether the souls considered to reside in the heart of the departed would reach the paradise of the afterlife successfully. In other versions, Ma'at was the feather as the personification of truth, justice, and harmony. Pharaohs are often depicted with the emblems of Ma'at to emphasize their roles in upholding the laws and righteousness. From the 18th dynasty, 1550 to 1295 BC, Ma'at was described as the daughter of Ra, indicating that pharaohs were believed to rule through her authority. Okay. Now we'll be going over that feather here in a second too, because I think that feather has something to do directly with, the showgirls here in Las Vegas. Okay. And I also talk about that feather in the Real Nigga Etiquette Voodoo Edition. So here's the laws: the 42 negative confessions, the papyrus of Ani. I have not committed sin. I have not committed robbery with violence. I have not stolen. I have not slain men and women. I have not stolen grain. I have not purloined offerings. I have not stolen the property of the gods. I have not uttered lies. I have not carried away food. I have not uttered curses. I have not committed adultery, and I have not lain with men. I have I have made none to weep. I have not eaten the heart. I have not grieved uselessly or felt remorse. I have not attacked any man. I am not a man of deceit. I have not stolen cultivated land. I have not been an eavesdropper. I have slandered no man. Look at that. I have not been an eavesdropper. So I'm going to stop right there on that one, because you can't name me an application on your phone that is not defined as eavesdropping. Right. It doesn't matter what app you open up. You scrolling up and down is eavesdropping.
Not being able to mind your own damn business.
You see this? And I have a problem with this because a lot of people eavesdrop on me. So even though I put out a memoir autobiography about myself and I've written all these books, I go out here on the streets and people automatically think they know who I am or know how I'm going to respond to certain things. And go ahead. What you about to say?
No, I'm agreeing with you. Go ahead.
Right. And it's like, brother, my brain is so complex. You could never figure out what decision I'm going to make towards a situation. So eavesdropping on an intellectual, you're wasting your time. Go eavesdrop on the SpongeBob watcher that's drinking the orange soda. You'll have a lot more.
Not a SpongeBob.
It will be a lot more easier for you. Do you understand me? But for an individual that understands many complex systems when it comes to mythology, astrology, when it comes to ancient history, modern history, so on and so forth, chemicals, biology, you're wasting your time. Okay.
I love it.
Just wanted to put that disclaimer out there real quick. Okay.
I appreciate that disclaimer, brother. I got you. I like that.
Okay. So I have not been angry without just cause. That's another one they hit us with in society lately. Right. For you to align yourself to individuals and situations that have nothing to do with you directly. So for you to be in a defense of an LGBT whatever, or for you to be in a defense of a Republican or this and that has nothing to do with you directly, and try to impose some form of false anger is not justifiable. Okay. And you have taken on the character of a fool, at that moment.
Love it.
Right.
Love it.
Right. So I have not debauched the wife of any man. Okay. I have not polluted myself. I have terrorized none. I have not transgressed the law. I have not been worth. I have not shut my ears to the words of truth. I have not blasphemed. I am not a man of violence. I am not a stirrer up of strife or a disturber of the peace. Now, are you going to be mad at the police when they use that as a code in their penal codes? You have
Mm.
disturbed the peace, huh? So it looks like the police may be upholding some of the ancient Egyptian Ma'at law.
Yeah, as well as breaking them. But that's all right. Keep going.
Yeah,
Keep going.
they they're doing both. It's
Yeah, they're
called
on both
balance.
sides of the coin. Whatever works for them.
Hey, let me
Whatever's
tell
in
you
their
something.
favor.
Their hearts will also be weighed in the duat. Okay,
No
so
doubt about it.
right, so your heart will be weighed against the feather as well. You're not gonna get away from it. So let's keep going here. I have not acted or judged with undue haste. I have not pried into matters. That's another one on the apps. Okay, I have not multiplied my words in speaking. I have wronged none. I have done no evil. I have not worked witchcraft against or blasphemed the king. I have never stopped the flow of water. I have never raised my voice, spoken arrogantly or in anger. I have not cursed or blasphemed God. I have not acted with evil rage. I have not stolen the bread of the gods. I have not carried away the kenfu cakes from the spirits of the dead. I have not snatched away the bread of the child, nor treated with contempt the God of my city. I have not slain the cattle belonging to the God. Okay. And this is the feather of Ma'at that is used against the balancing of the heart on the day of judgment. Okay, when you pass. All right. So let's go into the Medusa and what the Medusa complex is.
This is
Medusa
great.
in Greek mythology is Medusa, or its guardian protectress, is also called Gorgo, was one of the three monstrous gorgons, generally described as winged human females with living venomous snakes in place of hair. Those who gazed into her eyes would turn to stone. Most sources describe her as the daughter of Phorcys and Keto, the chief of the Gorgons of Greek mythology. Legend says that she was a beautiful maiden, especially famous for her hair, but that she violated the temple of Athene. She was raped by Poseidon inside the temple, who thereupon transformed her hair into serpents and made her face so terrible that all who looked on it were turned to stone. Perseus, assisted by Athene, who lent him her shield, wherein he looked only on the reflection of Medusa during his attack, struck off her head, and by its means rescued Andromeda from the monster. Andromeda was Perseus's mother. The alchemy is every woman has the capabilities of a Medusa by freezing you, turning one into stone by the sight of her beauty and grace. Okay, so it is the beauty and not the ugliness. Well, sometimes ugliness can do it too, but the
Walk away.
beauty, right?
Yes. Walk away, Peter. Walk away. I'm trying to keep my YouTube channel. Walk away, bro.
So no, we got to talk about it because
No, we don't have to
it's
talk
been too
about it.
much
We don't
fast
have to
food
talk about it.
consumption. We got the hunchback out here. You
Come on,
understand?
man. Come on. Come on, dude. Don't do it. Don't do it.
But what it really is a woman's beauty is going to freeze you and make you stay still and drop the jaw and stare in a long time, more so than what the ugliness is. So it's really the beauty that freezes you. And then there's the story of Medusa as her being a victim from her own beauty, and then to be also penalized by the elder female who is jealous of Medusa and casted her out because her attention that she got from Poseidon. Okay. And out of this jealousy, she still aimed to seal the deal in killing her by lending the mirror or the shield to Perseus. And Perseus only went out there to kill Medusa to protect his mother from being turned into a wife of one of the small islands off of the coast of Greece. Okay. So, well, let's keep on going on what the Medusa complex is today. And also, Medusa is in astrology, the sign of Perseus, because there's 88 different signs in our astrology system, right? So the sign of Perseus, he's holding the head of Medusa. The eye that moves around in Medusa's head is actually the star Algol, which is the root word to alcohol. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So there's also a little combination there that sometimes alcohol can make a woman either more beautiful or more ugly, that type of thing. But I have all of that. I have, alcohol and its effects on females and all of that psychologically, physically, and all of that inside the encyclopedia as well. So the Medusa complex is a psychological complex revolving around the petrification or freezing of human emotion and drawing on the classical myth of the Medusa. It is to cover the feeling or petrification induced by the threat of the parental gaze. A mute, paralyzed fury responds to the danger of the obliteration of an individual consciousness by an external other and perhaps by the corresponding internalized desire to obliterate the subjectivity of others in turn. Attachment theory uses the Medusa complex to refer to a self-destructive early state of inwardly directed aggression produced by a disruption of the mother-child mutual gaze. That's what I was just about to go into. So it's the mother-child mutual gaze, which this can also slip into the evil eye that is discussed in volume 2 in the Kicked Out of Heaven. So me and you, Shock, we definitely grew up with this one where the
No doubt.
parent looks at the
No doubt.
child like, nigga, I will have your ass if you.
I will kill you. I brought you into this world. I will take you out. No doubt.
Yeah, do it if you
No
want to and
doubt.
see what's coming next.
Right. That's right. That's right. That's right.
you know. So
You can
yeah,
walk over there, but you won't be walking home. I
yeah.
tell you that.
so yeah, that whole thing, that's what the Medusa complex is.
Oh
It's
man.
the power of freezing with the look, which is also the evil eye, which is also the Medusa complex. Okay,
Love
so
it, man. Good research. Good research, bro.
yeah, these two pictures of Medusa are not inside the encyclopedia, but these are iconic. The one on the right hand side, I think, was painted in 1869, and this is a statue on the left hand side of Perseus with Medusa's head. Okay, so let's go into Nefertiti. Nefertiti, her real name is Neferwatan. Nefertiti, from 1370 to 1330 BC, was a queen of the 18th dynasty of ancient Egypt, the great royal wife of Pharaoh Akhenaten. Nefertiti and her husband were known for a religious revolution in which they worshipped one god only, Aten, or the sun disk. With her husband, she reigned at what was arguably the wealthiest period of ancient Egyptian history. Some scholars believe that Nefertiti ruled briefly as Neferuaten after her husband's death and before the ascension of Tut Ankh Amun. Okay. Although this identification is a matter of ongoing debate. If Nefertiti did rule as pharaoh, her reign was marked by the fall of Amarna and relocation of the capital back to the traditional city of Thebes. Nefertiti had many titles, including the hereditary princess, the Great of Praises, the Lady of Grace. And the Lady of Grace is important because this is the epithet that was taken into Catholicism. Okay. The Sweet of Love, the Lady of Two Lands, the main king's wife, his beloved. Now, when you look at that word beloved at the very end part, what do you see? M-R-Y. That's Mary. Okay. Mary is an Egyptian word. Okay. So is Sarah. Sarah is ancient Hebrew, but Mary is definitely directly out of Egypt. So when in Catholicism, when they're saying Mother Mary, Virgin Mary, all of this, they're utilizing the power and also giving recognition to the power of ancient Egypt. Okay.
Do
Great
that
king's
research,
wife.
bro.
Huh?
Wow. I said, do that research, man. That's amazing.
Right. So and you know what's really crazy about, I like I said, I'll always say it, I'll say it again today. It's medieval Catholicism that I have to be aligned with, and you can't beat it up. You might want to be as mad as you want to, but you can't touch it. You can't touch it, bro. And what's really so crazy about it is that all that anger that you want to utilize towards it really shows who you are. Why are you angry? You know, there's black saints over here. We have black incorruptible, Benedict the Moor, the incorruptible. Okay. Like, what are we talking about? Is the list goes on and on and on and on. And I also want to say this real quick. Many people begged me over the years, since I got on YouTube about 15 years ago, to talk about ancient Egypt. There was always a big ancient Egypt hype. And I never really wanted to go down to ancient Egypt. And the reason why is because I don't like stuff that's desecrated. I like stuff that's brand new. And I felt as if Egypt was overran. There was too many, you know, tombs that had been raided, grave robbers everywhere, and then all of its artifacts are scattered all across the planet in all these museums everywhere. It didn't feel like there was nothing unique there for me. You see what I'm saying? And lo and behold, there was a lot that was uniquely there for me. So yeah, I just wanted to say that part. Egypt is definitely Kemet is definitely a home for me. But yeah, let's keep going. The great king's wife and his beloved, um, the lady of all women, and the mistress of Upper and Lower Egypt. While modern Egyptological pronunciation renders her name as Nefertiti, her name was the sentence Nefertjijat. Okay, the beautiful one has come, and probably contemporarily pronounced Naftita, from older Nafrat-ita, or perhaps Neferet-iti. Okay. And this figure is in the book. This is a limestone standing figure of the great royal Egyptian queen Nefertiti right here. This picture is in the book. What is a Nefertiti piercing? A Nefertiti piercing is a female genital piercing that is a combination of a vertical clitoral hood piercing and a Christina piercing. Healing can be lengthy given the amount of tissue the jewelry must pass through. Flexible bars are recommended by professional piercers because of the pressure that can be put on the piercing from passing through so much flesh. Okay. And there's other forms of piercings, vaginal piercings, that are defined inside the book. All right. Now, this is the one that's crazy. Is Newt, and me and Newt have a very close relationship. I might as well put it like that. You'll find Newt in the movie Alien 1, where
I
they're
remember
talking
the
about.
little white kid was named Newt.
Yeah, come on now. You're on top of this, okay?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Who you
And
with?
and that was the
That is the most
bridge.
famous newt in cinema because nobody's ever really used that name that much.
Come on, bro. That the uniqueness of it.
Yep.
So, due to the fact that they used that name in that movie and a lot of other symbology and stuff that was going inside that movie, it led me to the understanding of the face hugger
Let's
and
go. Let's go into
what
it.
that really is and the whole science behind it. And ancient Egypt slammed on my head like none other. And that's why I can,
Oh,
right. That's why I understand it. That's why I can understand it with the simplicity, because I accepted the right of the Kahun Papyrus, and the Kahun Papyrus is breaking down the gynecological. It's the first, it's the only surviving um gynecological record that we have from the ancient world, and it's the second oldest document. And the first oldest medical document on the planet is from Babylon, and I don't think there's no gynecological record in there. But note that it's the second, because you only have a problem when there's two, right? And then that's also the same for the diseases of women, written by Hippocrates in ancient Greece, which is a volume 1 and volume 2. which also goes over it furthers the details that ancient Egypt was going over. And those gynecological records it's unique because the things that they're stating are the same things we see today, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Right. You know, if
Mm-hmm.
we and this is the things that they understood, Hippocrates with the diseases of women, and also the gynecological records, the Kahun papyri of ancient Egypt, is definitely what birthed a hardcore control social system over women through religion.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's
Because a
right.
lot of because let me tell you something. If we were to let women go to their own vices and sit back and watch the activity, you will see the rebirth of the face hugger, of the Cahoon, in full control of the woman's psyche and body. And us as males would classify that as insanity. And we're talking about high degrees of insanity. We're talking about, degrees of insanity that's witnessed in like the dancing mania in volume 2, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
certain activities that we see during the plague. And the reasoning being is because at the bottom line of it, the face hugger, is a mad scientist. It is a mad scientist. And the mad scientist has no limit towards possibilities and what the combinations of mixing can occur. And see, I don't even want to go. Let me stop and get back to this because it, it
I was about to
goes,
say, all right, Las Vegas,
yeah.
we're time.
Let me
Time to
tell you,
pause for the clause.
when you understand certain lines of the
But
behavior
I
and
love the cause
activity
and
of the
effect of it. I love how you go back to find the effect of the cause as opposed to try to fill in another effect with another effect. Everything has
right,
an
right,
origin.
right, and
And
what
as
and that's
philosophers, we ask the how question. We ask the questions that go that create all of the other disciplines, all of the other ologies. And sometimes y'all ain't gonna like what we find
right.
because of the biases and the socialization that you have been raised in and have gone through or grown through. Sometimes the truth hurts, which is why a lot of that stuff is hidden. Go ahead, keep going.
Right. And well, I want to say this before, and like I was saying, is the behavior of the face hugger and the behavior of what a scientist is, as he was just noting. Once we thoroughly understand that, you will see the space before mankind.
Mm-hmm.
And you actually have that in your genetic code. You will see the
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
space of existence before mankind, and it's an ugly scene. I'm gonna tell you right now, it's not. It's worse than what you've ever
Before there's
witnessed inside of
order,
a horror movie.
there's chaos.
Hey, like one woman told me, Thoth was before the devil. So, you know.
Yep. Yep.
Let's keep going. So Newt. Newt, also known by various other transcriptions, is the goddess of the sky, stars, cosmos, mothers, astronomy, and the universe in the ancient Egyptian religion. She was seen as a star-covered nude woman arcing over the earth, or as a cow. She was depicted wearing the water pot sign that identifies her. The pronunciation of ancient uh, Egyptian is uncertain because vowels were long omitted from its writing. Although her name often includes the unpronounced determinative hieroglyph for sky, her name NWT itself, also meaning sky, is usually uh, transcribed as Nut, but also sometimes appears in older sources as Nanut, Net, or and Nuit. Ra, the sun god, was the second to rule the world according to the reign of the gods. He decreed, Nut shall not give birth any day of the year. At that time, the year was only 360 days. Nut spoke to Thoth, god of wisdom, and he had a plan. Nut gambled with Khonsu, god of the moon, whose light rivaled that of Ra's. Every time Khonsu lost, he had to give Newt some of his moonlight. Khonsu lost so many times that Newt had enough moonlight to make 5 extra days. Since these days were not part of the year, Newt could have her children. She had 5 children: Osiris, later ruler of the gods, and then god of the dead; Horus, the elder, god of war; Set, god of evil in the desert; Isis, goddess of magic; and Nephthys, goddess of water. When Ra found out, he was furious. He separated Nut from her husband Jeb for eternity. Her father Shu was given the job to keep them apart. Nevertheless, Newt did not regret her decision. Did you hear that story?
And
Did you
this
hear
series
that
is half
story?
off, family.
Did you
It's a
hear
half
that,
off
brother?
sale. I'm putting this in the chat. That's
N-
amazing.
yeah, it's a pimp story, B. That's what's so crazy
Wow.
about it. That's what's so crazy
Wow.
about it, bro.
I'm like,
And
how do you find this, bro?
from this story on is why you see a lot of the pharaohs with the hard phallus out, because you got to rule through that lane. If you don't, a woman is only going to respect you based off of your virality, your animal virality, because she has an animal responsibility hands down, and that is giving birth. Okay. So yeah, bro. That
That's
story
awesome.
changed my life. Thoth, because see what happens is 72 times 5 is 360. So Thoth represents the 72 degrees of each one of those moonlight, those 5 extra days. And then they're talking about gambling too. Okay. And that's a whole nother science, because gambling is something that's deeply embedded inside the human understanding for our survival. It's gaming, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It's a gamble every time the caveman had to hunt.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You see that? You see that?
Absolutely.
So every time a caveman had to, you know, get a deer or cross a river, or
So he might not make it back.
right, man, not make it back. You may jump in this river and hit a rock and break your ankle, and you're dying. Okay, once that occurs. So, yeah, you could do more research into that. You could buy the book. Thoth is also inside the book. He had to be, but he's not the only one. There's a couple of other pharaohs, and I mean not pharaohs, but gods in the ancient mythology, in the ancient Egyptian religious system, that represent what we would call today the fur coat Cadillac driving. Okay. And that's why none of our scholars ever talk about these gods and goddesses in ancient
Fascinating.
Egypt. Yeah.
Fascinating.
You gotta ask why don't they ever talk about these?
Mm-hmm.
They want to talk about
Mm-hmm.
Ptah, they want to talk about Amen Ra, they want to talk about Amun or Ammon, which are different epithets of Amen Ra. And why is Amen Ra the sun god and Thoth is the moon god? What is a moon god? We never got talked about that. You know what I'm saying? The sun god actually represents the beta male, and the
Mm-hmm.
Thoth, the moon god, represents the alpha male, you know, because like the moon makes the waves of the ocean move, right? The
Fascinating.
moon is what creates waves on the ocean, right?
I love it. I love it.
Right. So the moon god is what gets it wet, you see, not the sun god. The sun god um amplifies the beauty, okay, by purchasing items for her to amplify the
Mm-hmm.
beauty and
Mm-hmm.
also feed the children. Okay. The moon god
Mm-hmm.
don't do that. Okay.
You ain't right. You ain't
Yo,
right, dude.
it's so illmatic. It's so ill. It's so ill. But yeah, I mean, and here it is, women are still operating off of these mechanisms. So every woman that you're looking at, minimum is probably 20,000 years old. You know, that's just minimum on her access of intelligence that's in her genetic code, you know. And that's also due to the fact of the responsibility, once again, of giving birth.
Wow. Incredible.
You see? So here's a picture of Newt. You know, and then also you got to understand what words Newt is inside. So she's inside the word neutral, neuter. You can also put in nothing. You could put in nuclear. You can put that in there because it's also NU and not just NUT. There's a lot of them. I have it listed right in the beginning of the book of all the breakdowns of the sections of the word, because when you go down to ancient Egypt and you want to find Egyptian words or gods or goddesses inside our modern day language, you can only do it by 2 letters, 3 maximum, but you have to do it by 2 letters. So like thought is in there, the, think, that, theology, that's thought, TH, you see. Amun is in ammo. What's another one? All the words with AM. Right. Yeah, Ama, right. AM. All the words with AM in it in the beginning, in the first 2 letters, and in the last 2 letters of the word is the God is the God I'm in. Okay. So it goes on and on and on and on and on like that. There's a lot of them. But whoever structured the English language is the genius of all geniuses. I'll tell you that. But yeah, here we go. Okay. Here's more definition on Newt. Okay. Egyptian great mother personifying the night sky. Sometimes she was the cow whose udder gave forth the Milky Way. Or sometimes she was a woman arched over earth, touching the ends of the earth with her toes and fingertips. Or again, her figure was painted inside the coffin lids, her arms stretching down to embrace the deceased. Her consort, Jeb, was an earthbound god who lay on his back and tried to reach her with his erect phallus, signified by the obelisk. So the obelisks in ancient Egypt are symbols of what? Okay. And you have to understand that when they're showing you hard phallus, that's not really what they're showing you. What you're really looking at is the health. You're looking at a maintenance of health. You're looking at a maintenance of control. You're looking at a maintenance of physicality.
Vitality and virility.
Right, vitality, right. So don't just okay. The sex realm is built on 2 things: the invisible arts or the visible parts. Let's do that again. The sex realm is based on 2 things: the invisible arts or the visible parts. Okay. So the invisible arts is what we were just talking about. When you see that imagery, you're seeing health, virality, desire, control, focus. Those are the invisible arts. The immature mind will only be stuck on the visible parts. You see that? Okay. So I had to throw that.
Come on now, let's leave Las Vegas. This is Las Vegas, family. Come on.
So pharaohs were sons and consorts of Nut, Pepi II, and said he was living between the thighs of Nut, conceived of Nut, spreadeth herself thy mother Nut over thee in her name of mystery of Nut. She granteth that thou mayest exist without enemies. O king of the south and north, Menkara, living forever. Egyptians said every woman was a nutrit. See? Nutrition. A little goddess. You see that? The word nut is also a nutrition. Okay. And then you convert the vowel and then you have nut. Okay. So there you go. And the nuts in nature, which is NTR, netter, which is also NUT, neuter, which is newt, once again, in that word nature. Like walnuts and pecans and all of that are good for testosterone. Okay. So always remember that. Keep a good, nut diet with your food, basically. So here we go on to the next word. And this word is very interesting. Brother Shock mandated that it was in this that it was inside our presentation today. And this is called the Obedient Wives Club. There is a club,
Why
ladies.
you put that on me? Why you do
Come
that to
on,
me,
now,
man?
come on now.
Why are you doing that, Las
Eh,
Vegas?
No,
Come on, man.
we need some memberships. You know, I'm gonna start. We're no more Moorish IDs. We're gonna do the Obedient Wives Club IDs for the Negro up in here.
Oh
Okay,
my
that's what we're gonna
goodness.
do.
Oh, you're so
So
wrong.
let's
The
read this.
access of evil. You're fat right now. You're fat right now.
Yeah, yeah. So the Moorish ID ain't got us nowhere. The Obedient Wives Club ID might do something. So we need here we go. Okay, it is an international Islamic faith-based organization which claims to promote harmonious families by teaching wives how to be submissive to their husbands. Composed of up to 3,000 members, this group currently operates in Malaysia, Indonesia, Singapore, Australia, Kazakhstan, and Jordan, though it has plans to open chapters in England and France in 2013. In October 2011, the Obedient Wives Club published a highly controversial book called Islamic Sex, which encouraged wives to act like first-class whores in order to keep husbands from straying. This book is currently banned in Indonesia and Malaysia. Despite the book only being available to its club, some of its content has been made known, sparking fierce debates online. Though the Obedient Wives Club is an Islamic organization, they are open to any woman, regardless of their denomination. The Obedient Wives Club claims to fight divorce, domestic violence, and their social ills by teaching wives how to please their husbands. Good Lord. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. And if you sign up today, you get a free cookbook.
You're
Okay.
so stupid. You're stupid.
Okay.
You're stupid. You ain't got no sense.
Hey, no,
Oh,
this is a real thing. No, let me show you
oh.
how real it is. Let me show you how
You
real it
can't
is.
make
There's
this
a
stuff
picture of
up,
the
family.
class, picture of
You can't make this
classroom,
stuff up.
Obedient Wives Club. You see it on the back wall right there. All right. And this is one of the procedures they're teaching in the class.
You gotta be kidding me. You've got to be
You know,
kidding me.
hey, back to the whole thing about Newt. As much problems humans have over this whole sexual thing, male and female thing, there is something got to be going on. It's got to be an alien interrupted or something in the
Oh my
no
God.
other being on the planet has this much problem with copulation except for humans because we got the most complex social system. You know? So
Unbelievable.
yeah, and this right here over here in the bottom right hand corner is Persephone is how her name is enunciated. It's Persephone, not Persephone, but it's purse and phone. Okay, when you divide it into and apply the metaphysics, it's purse and no, that's not Persephone. I'm sorry about that. This picture, which is in the book, the bottom, well, both of these pictures are in the book, but the one on the bottom right hand corner is actually Pandora. I'm sorry about that. This is Pandora. Okay. So Pandora's box. What is it? Let's talk about it. All gifts was to Prometheus, forethought by Zeus, whose wrath he had provoked by teaching man the use of fire. The willy giant refused her, but his brother Epithemius afterthought married her and opened Zeus's wedding gift, Pandora's box, whereupon every good thing flew away save hope glimmering at the bottom. Saint Pantaleon, all lying a Roman physician, became the old buffoon Pantaloon of the Commedia dell'arte. Hold on. From his I don't even know why that's up in there. I'm sorry about that. But I might as well talk about it while we're here. Saint Pantaloon is actually the saint over pennies. Okay. So yes, they do have a saint that rules over the pennies. Okay.
Stop it.
Let's stop it.
Stop it. Just stop it.
Hey,
Just
let me tell
stop
you
the
something.
cheating.
That is part of the reason why I love Catholicism, because boy, they keep it comical. I laugh so hard at looking at some of the stuff they talking about, and it's intentionally funny, you know. But yeah, Saint Pantaleon.
They have a saint for panties.
Yeah, right here, Saint Pantaleon. And they put a lion at the end. The raw
That's
draws, nigga.
stupid.
Okay.
No. Stop.
The
Walk away,
draws
Peter.
that
Walk away.
roar. Okay.
Walk away. Walk away
Yeah.
from it. Just say no.
Okay.
Just say
Yeah.
no.
We might as well talk about it while we're here, and then we'll get to
Oh,
Pandora's
that's
box right here in a
hilarious.
minute. So, yeah, he's an all-line, or he's a Roman physician, became the old buffoon pantaloon of the Commedia dell'arte. From his costume came pantaloon shortened to pants, lengthened the word to pantalettes, then panties, and by both rhyme and reason, scanties. Also panty waist, pantyhose, pantaloonery. Okay, so
Wow.
yeah, this is the saint that is over pants and
Finding
panties.
the origin, family. Finding there's an
Okay.
answer and an origin for everything.
Yeah, I'm telling you, a rhyme and a reason. So here we go. Pandora's box. Okay. Pandora's box is a present which seems valuable, but which is in reality a curse, like that of Midas, who found his very found his very food became gold, so uneatable. So basically, what they were saying with Pandora's box is all the good gifts that was inside the box flew away except for hope. Hope was the only thing that you have left inside Pandora's box after everything else is gone. Okay, so don't hold on to hope. And if you are holding on to hope, you've opened up Pandora's box and gotten nothing. Okay, that's why it's just sort of like the Pandora music app. You hoping your song gonna come on next, and they ain't put on some garbage. You know, so here we go. Prometheus made an image and stole fire from heaven to endow it with life. In revenge, Jupiter told Vulcan to make the first woman, who was named Pandora because each of the gods gave her some power, which was to bring about the ruin of man. Jupiter gave her a box which she was to present to him who married her. Prometheus distrusted Jove in his gifts, but Epimetheus, his brother, married the beautiful Pandora and, against advice, accepted the gift of the god. Immediately he opened the box, all the evils flew forth and have ever since continued to afflict the world. According to some accounts, the last thing that flew out was hope, but others say that hope alone remained. So see, they're talking about the element of a woman giving you a gift that could destroy you. And I'd like to give this to something. I'd like to refer this to the situation with Frank Lucas, who was the big heroin dealer in New York. Once his wife gave him a fur coat, and he wore that fur coat to the boxing match, all the other mafia members were like, "Who is this cat?" They didn't even know who he was in the city. But because he wore a gift that his wife wanted him to wear, he was now identified, and that was the beginning of his demise. So watch out with what your wife gives you and how you may want to sport
If
it.
your wife gives you a fur coat, you in trouble.
Yeah, you're in trouble. Better watch out. So Persephone is the Greek goddess of the underworld, which I break her name into two, which is purse and phone. Okay. She's also called Kor or Cora. The maiden is the daughter of Zeus and Demeter. She became the queen of the underworld after her abduction by Hades, the god of the underworld, with the approval of her father Zeus. The myth of her abduction, her sojourn in the underworld, and her temporary return to the surface represents her functions as the embodiment of spring and the personification of vegetation, especially grain crops, which disappear to the earth when sown and sprout from the earth in spring and are harvested when fully grown. In classical Greek art, Persephone is invariably portrayed robed, often carrying a sheaf of grain. She may appear as a mystical divinity with a scepter and a little box, but she was mostly represented in the process of being carried off by Hades. Uh, Persephone, as a vegetation goddess, and her mother Demeter were the central figures of the Eleusinian mysteries. which promised the initiated a happy afterlife. The origins of her cult are uncertain, but it was based on ancient agrarian cults of agricultural communities. In Athens, the mysteries celebrated in the month of Anthestorian were dedicated to her. Her name has numerous historical variants. This includes Persephassa and Persephata. In Latin, her name is rendered Proserpina. She was identified by the Romans as the Italic goddess Libera, who was conflated with Proserpina. Myths similar to Persephone's descent and return to Earth also appear in the cults of male gods like Attis, Adonis, and Osiris, and in Minoan Crete. Persephata is considered to mean female thresher of grain. The first constituent of the name originates in Proto-Greek perso, sheaf of grain, and the second constituent of the name originates in Proto-Indo-European. Gwyneth from the root Gwen to strike. A popular folk etymology is from Pharon phonon to bring or cause death. Okay, so it's talking about the death and rebirth cycle. Now, this one right here is we're going back to ancient Egypt. This is Kadash. Kadash was the first sacred prostitute of all sacred prostitutes, and which would be today a courtesan, even though they don't use that term. Today, a sacred prostitute would fall into maybe about the price range of 1,500 and up, 5,000 and up for a weekend type of thing. And I have to classify it like that because they don't have specific names that break them down like they had in 1800 America and beyond. So you have to understand part of the reason you don't hear any history about America in between 1800 and 1900 is because it was all gangster. Everything. Blacks, whites, Mexicans, Asians, all of their women, it was all gangster. Everything in this country was just nothing but shootouts and gangs and, bank robbers. And it really is like that, and that's part of the reason why we don't get told anything about in between 1800 and 1900. And I only bring that to the forefront is because when you do a lot of detail on what was going on in the 1800s and 1900s, especially with the women, there was hardcore classifications that they fell into when it came to their conduct with males and how they were recognized in society. And a large percentage of them fell into prostitution type realms. Okay. So Kadesh, is a word derived from Qds root, which is used in the Hebrew Bible to describe a particular sort of woman. Historically, this has been understood to be a sacred prostitute in a temple fertility cult. However, modern scholarship has revealed that the evidence for this is extremely tenuous. Modern scholars have provided significant criticism of the common belief that any culture of the Mediterranean and ancient Near East ever practiced sacred prostitution. Kadesh in Arabic means to be holy or to be pure, immaculate. Quds can be used as a noun to denote paradise or as an adjective meaning purity or holiness. The definite noun form of al-Quds is the most common of 17 Arabic names of Jerusalem and derives from the Aramean word for temple. The Turkish word for Jerusalem, Kudus, derives from the Arabic name. Two other names for Jerusalem also derive from the QDS root. Bayat al-Muqaddas is the holy house, and Bayat al-Maqdis. The wider area around Jerusalem or the Holy Land is referred to in Arabic and in Islamic sources as al-Ard al-Muqaddasa, also Balad al-Muqaddasa, as it is full of shrines and connections to prophets and saints. The Christian Bible is known in Arabic as El-Kitab, El-Muqaddas, and Muqaddas in Arabic means not only holy and sacred, but also haloed, sanctified, dedicated, and consecrated. Now, when it says they don't know anything about sacred prostitution in ancient Egypt, what you have to understand is that ancient Egypt stood for over 5,000 years. So within that time space, things changed over time. And that is also pertaining to their religious rights and their socialism, and also marriage rituals and things of that nature. The Egypt at the end was not the same Egypt as was in the beginning. Okay. And I would also like to state the wearing of red lipstick comes from ancient Egypt. The wearing of fishnets for like fishnet type of leggings or tights or whatever, um, that comes from ancient Egypt, and also the adorning of wigs. So, the jewelry concept also comes from ancient Egypt. This is um, a tablet of Kadesh, and she is in the center, standing on top of the lion, as you see. She conquers the lion. Okay, so we went a little bit too far. Let's go up here. So scheme. The word scheme is actually Sekhmet. So Sekhmet is inside the word scheme. Also spelled Sekhmet, Sakhet, or scheme. Among other spellings in Coptic, is a warrior goddess as well as a goddess of healing. She is depicted as a lioness. She was seen as the protector of the pharaohs and led them in warfare. Upon death, Sekhmet continued to protect them, bearing them to the afterlife. Sekhmet is a solar deity, sometimes called the daughter of Ra, and often associated with the goddesses Hathor and Bastet. Hathor and Bastet are also inside the encyclopedia. She bears the Uraris, which associates her with Wajet and royalty, and the solar disk. Sekhem. Little is known about the Egyptian interpretation of this portion of the soul. And I also have the Ab and the Ka and the Ba inside the encyclopedia, which is breaking down the different facets of the human soul. It's inside there. So little is known about the Egyptian interpretation of this portion of the soul. Many scholars define Shem or Sekhem as the living force or life force of the soul, which exists in the afterlife after all judgment has been passed. It is defined in the Book of the Dead as the power and as a place within which Horus and Osiris dwell in the underworld. Okay, so Bek Neferu. Sebek Neferu or Neferu Sebek, meaning the beauty of Sebek, was a pharaoh of ancient Egypt and the last ruler of the 12th dynasty of the Middle Kingdom. Sobek Neferu was one of the few women that ruled in Egypt and the first to adopt the full royal titulary, distinguishing herself from any prior female rulers. She was also the first ruler associated with the crocodile god Sebek by name, whose identity appears in both her birth and throne names. See? Told you. About the crocodile god. Okay. So you have Terowet. Terowet is the protective ancient Egyptian goddess of childbirth and fertility. The name Terowet means she who is great or simply the great one, a common pacificatory address to dangerous deities. The deity is typically depicted as a bipedal female hippopotamus with feline attributes, pendulous female human breasts, the limbs and paws of a lion, and the back and tail of a Nile crocodile. Now, let me stop right there. So the pendulum that you swing back and forth in magic rites is a symbol of the mother's breast swinging over the infant's mouth. Okay. She commonly bears the epithets Lady of Heaven, Mistress of the Horizon, she who removes water, Mistress of Pure Water, and Lady of the Birth House. Terowet bears physical aspects of both a fertility goddess and a fearsome protective deity. She takes the form of a female hippopotamus, a highly deadly creature. She is also often seen with features from other predatory creatures, most notably being the tail of a Nile crocodile and the paws of a lioness. These features directly parallel those of other ferocious protective ancient Egyptian deities, most notably the crocodile god Sebek and the lioness goddess Sekhmet. Okay, and here is a picture of her. That is Terowet. Okay. Now this is Wajet. Wajet is also an Egyptian goddess. So Wajet was originally the ancient local goddess of the city of Dep. Wadjet was said to be the nurse of the infant god Horus. With the help of his mother Isis, they protected Horus from his treacherous uncle Set when they took refuge in the swamps of the Nile Delta. Wadjet was closely associated in ancient Egyptian religion with the Eye of Ra, a powerful protective deity, as the patron goddess. She was associated with the land and depicted as a snake-headed woman or a snake, usually an Egyptian cobra, a venomous snake common to the region. Um, Sometimes she was depicted as a woman with two snake heads. At other times, a snake with a woman's head. The Egyptian word wad signifies blue and green. It is also the name for the well-known eye of the moon. Indeed, in later times, she was often depicted simply as a woman with a snake's head or as a woman wearing the uraeus. The Wadjet was depicted as a cobra. As patron and protector, later Wadjet often was shown coiled upon the head of Ra. In order to act as his protection, this image of her became the uraeus symbol used on the royal crowns as well. Its hieroglyphs differ from those of the green crown or deshret of Lower Egypt only by the determinative, which in the case of the crown was a picture of the green crown, and in the case of the goddess, a rearing cobra. I also like to mention that the majority of the snakes that you see on the helmets are not cobras. They're I gotta look it up real quick. It's a snake that starts with an A. It's an AP. Let me see here. What is it? What type of snake is it? It starts with an AP. I can't think of it off the top of the head right now. Let me see. I want to say apex, but that's not the word. It's well, a pep is also inside the encyclopedia, and a pep is the origin snake god of ancient Egypt. But the type of snake that they're using for their masks is, I mean, for their helmet attire for the males is not a cobra. It's a different type of snake, and I forgot the name of it. But just know that if you run across it in your own research, it starts with the letters A and P. I forgot the rest. It's a short word. It's a very short word. Let me see here. Asp. There it is. It's an asp. I'm sorry about that. Sorry it took so long, but it's an asp. ASP is the
Yeah,
name of
you
the
had me
snake.
confused because you said AP, not ASP. I was
Right,
thinking of
right,
ASP, but I was like,
right.
oh, okay, gotcha.
Right. But it's an asp or the word aspis, but it's ASP. I'm sorry about that. I just
No
knew there was
worries.
an A and a P, and it was in close, you know. Right.
Right.
But as you've seen with this, indirect education on ancient Egypt today, the majority of their words are broken down into two, three letters. Okay. And that's usually because there's no significance given towards vowels. Vowels are considered sacred for many different reasons. But that is the snake that they used. It's an asp. Okay.
Great work
Okay.
you're doing.
So let's keep going here. So that was Wajet, another goddess in the ancient Egyptian pantheon. So this is the life and age of a woman. Okay. Let me see here. I would like to keep this picture up. This is a medieval drawing. This was done. Well, actually, it was done in 1849, the closing of the medieval, basically. I would like to keep it up, keep that picture up while I'm doing this, while I'm explaining this. Well, let me just explain it. An approximate transcription of the verse couplets in the image: an infant in a cradle, a wailing infant. First she plays, unconscious of her future days. Young girl with a doll, her girlish pastimes reveal for show the cares which woman's life must know. Late teen girl in grown-up clothes, her ripened beauty all confess and wonder at her loveliness. The bride in white dress and veil, a husband's arms in hope and pride, and clasp her now, a lovely bride. Young mother holding a baby is a mother's anxious love and care with toilful heart is hers to share. And number 6 is dressed to go outdoors. Now that she no longer has babies or toddlers in the house, she can now take an interest in matters outside the home, though in a strictly private and individual charitable capacity, of course. Now to the poor, her hands dispense the blessings of benevolence. Okay. Middle-aged woman, the first declining step, is absorbed in household duties now. The weight of toil contracts her brow. In black bonnet and holding handkerchief, suggesting the later stages of mourning, perhaps her husband has died. She now resigns all earthbound care and lifts her soul to heaven in prayer. Old wearing spectacles. At 80 years, her well-stored mind imparts its blessings to her kind. Bent over using cane, the hoary head us all should bless who abound in ways of righteousness. And sitting in chair and knitting, the body sinks and wastes away. The spirit cannot now no decay. These are all the stages. You see it? The life and age of woman. Stages of a woman's life from the cradle to the grave. Okay. And then I list all of that. These are all in the book. This is in the book. Okay. Now to the one that Brother Shock was speaking on. This is the state of matrimony. Okay. And this is the map. This is a map according to surveys by civil engineer Cupid, whose familiarity with this and adjoining states entitles him to be considered a great expert. Okay. So yeah, right here is where you see the Fort Bliss. Let me see if I can blow it up a little bit. Okay. The state of single blessedness. So when a woman is single, she gets blessed a lot with a lot of things because there's always offers being given to her. And her state of innocence is right here. And then the ocean of love is right here. And on the ocean of love is Youngstown, Advance, Ruth, the Meriwether. Look at that. The Pearl Island, the Society Islands, the Reunion Island, the Scilly Islands, okay? The Isle of Man, the Virgin Islands, Old Point Comfort. You see this? This is crazy.
This is nuts, bro.
The state of remorse. You see this on the outside of the heart? This is all matrimony, so this is marriage. Okay, what they're talking about here. Okay, so inside of her
But
heart.
let's look at the detail of this. To do something like this, I mean, when you put that out into the world, it creates an energy unto itself. It becomes alive.
Right,
And look at the detail of this.
right.
Absolutely amazing.
Right. And what's really so crazy is that a lot of these locations actually have names here in America. So you have the Yukon truck. Yukon is right here. You have the Kansas, to have sass, Kansas.
Wow.
Okay. You have the Fort Wrangell, okay, which is Wrangler jeans as well. Okay. You have Fort Bliss right here, which, like I said, was in El Paso, Texas. Then you have the Alliance, okay. Then you have the Honeymoon City. Then you have the Fort Twain. You see, all of these different little locations definitely have significance to it. The Fairchild, the Conception, okay, and that Conception is spelled in Mary's Conception. That's Catholic right there because it doesn't have the T, it has a C, okay. So you have the Battle Forge, you have the Trouble Town, and there's going to be trouble when dealing with the heart and matrimony. Okay. You have the That's why I love this
Double
shit.
time.
Yo,
Wow.
writing the medieval was fun for me. You know, I'm telling you. I mean, it had its wild points, but boy, I'm telling you. Okay. You got Mount Pleasant. You got Canaan. Okay. Right there, the land of Canaan. Okay. You got the Black Hills right here. You have the bitter root, okay, of matrimony. Okay. The Waterloo, the Black Forest, the Rocky Mountains, huh? Ain't there Rocky Mountains? Okay. Look at this. Luck now, to have luck.
Wow.
Yeah. You know, Twin Sisters, the Warm Springs, the Hot Springs. The Hot Springs is in Arkansas, I do believe. Or Hot Springs are all called locations where there's hot water running next to a river, all
Mm-hmm.
across America, right? And then you have Sing Sing. Isn't there a penitentiary named Sing Sing?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You have Mountains of the Moon. You have the Homeland. You have the Darlington, the Honey Lulu. I think there's a product or a brand of food that uses that Honey Lulu. And then you have what was the other one I saw? The Garden of Eden is right here. The Good Now. Okay. And then you have the State of Irresponsibility, which is outside of the matrimony. Okay. And you have the Freeport, Freetown, Widowfield, No Man's Land. Okay. You have the Hyde Park to hide. So freedom, which is right here, Freetown and the Freeport is a state of irresponsibility. Independence is a state of irresponsibility.
Mm.
Do you see this?
Unreal.
Do you
Unreal.
see this? Okay. Then we have over here in the state of remorse, we have the Devil's Lake. Okay. And we have the Dead Sea. We have Hell Gate. We have the Devil's Gulch, the Badlands, Devil's Thumb. Okay. You see this?
Wow.
Yeah. So this is in the book. This map is in the book.
What does it stated what year
What
that was
year this
produced?
was made? No, I probably have it in the book though, in the description of the picture at the bottom.
Okay.
Excuse me. But yeah. Yeah, there we have it. And then here's one which is a map of the open country of the woman's heart. Okay. So this is the open country of the woman's heart, which is a map as well. Let's spread it out here a little bit bigger. And we have a sea of wealth, which is over here on the side. The love of display, the love of dress, the sentimentality, the sentiment, selfishness, coquetry, which is coquetry is defined in the book as well. The caprice, the fickleness, right? Or a woman to be fickle is a part of a woman's heart. Okay.
Mm.
The land of oblivion, the country of solid worth. Okay, that a woman will always have worth because they do that. But that worth is going to be balanced on what they apply themselves to, and that's where we will find their worth. The love of admiration, to be admired or to admire. Vanity is right here. Okay, you have the country of blightness. What is that? The country of I think it's eligibleness. The country of eligibleness right there. So to be eligible. The pyramids of fashion. Do you see how they got ancient Egypt right there?
Mm.
This is the land of fashion. The pyramids of fashion. Because they were very fashionable, weren't they? All right. Cashmere. All right. Women love the cashmere. That's what was going down in the 80s. Texting ground of uncertainty. Okay. Prudeness, good sense, discrimination. The ladies do naturally discriminate. They'll choose their favorite child over the other one. Okay. So, but that is their discretion skills, especially when it comes to choosing a mate. So these two old man's daring bay. Yeah, these two maps are inside the encyclopedia at the very back of the book. So
Wow.
go to the Woman's Alchemy right now. .com.
The
The
links
women's
are in the description,
.com.
family. To go get the
Uh,
book. It's amazing.
yeah, yeah,
This
yeah,
level of research has never. So let me put you back on screen, brother.
yeah. Go ahead.
This level of research has never been shown before. And I think it was you telling me, Keenan, that this was the first interview that you've done on this work and this research.
Yeah, I got a lot of dictionaries and encyclopedias in here in my library, written by women, of course, and I do have a lot of books that are written by males about women that span different time periods. But there was not a composite. I felt as if the true composite wasn't there. And what makes the true composite is the medical thing, is the medical side.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people, our current scholastic system and academia, they divide medical from the goddesses. They divide the medical from, we're not talking about the chemicals that's inside the makeup, which is also a part of the female's dynamic. How do clothes affect them? Wearing the high heels, and all of that. Why are they called high heels? And why were the oracles on high heels?
Mm. Mm.
You see?
Mm.
So there's a combination there. There's a lot of things that weren't there. And if I'm going to rule, I'm not going to tell you how I'm ruling.
Mm-hmm.
It's just what
Mm-hmm.
the rules to the game is. So I've witnessed a lot of unnecessary abuse on a lot of men throughout time, throughout America. Basically, as you see that, I mean, we have stories of the old world and things that occurred during the ancient times, but today and what's going on in our modern world is definitely the slaughter of the man. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
you are to be what the witches in the medieval used to do. I'm going to convert you to a cow and you're going to plow my fields. That's what, yo, that's what the witches in the medieval times did. It would turn a man into a cow. You gonna plow my field up in here, my man. Turn you into,
You are
you
going to
know.
serve me.
Yeah,
Um.
yeah, certainly.
So,
You're right.
so how long did it take you to compile this, bro? Because I remember when we were doing the series on Kicked Out of Heaven, you were still working on this.
Yeah, this one took about 2 years. This
Okay.
one took about 2 years to write. Um, it was a lot, and then I was going through like a lot of stuff with women during that time. I lost my mother, while rest
I
in
saw.
peace, while I was writing this. I
Mm,
lost my woman at the time when I was writing this.
mm,
Um, a lot of stuff was occurring. A woman from every race is typed the definition in the book.
mm-hmm,
So yeah, I put there is alchemy up in here. So it has been knighted by the ladies. And every woman that I've approached or had in-depth conversations with about the whole uterus is alien theory, I've never gotten any argument. I've always
mm-hmm,
I've always gotten out of females, and we're talking about women of different races and backgrounds too. Yeah, I've always gotten a confession of some sort that
mm-hmm,
will
mm-hmm,
compile on top of the theory that yeah, you're
and
on the right,
corroborate your
yeah,
research.
cooperate with what I'm stating. And yeah, that was a part of it. Um the makeup thing was very important. And then a lot of women do know these things too. There's some things that they don't know, but I haven't ran across any females who, are too foreign to what's being stated, especially about the makeup thing.
Mm,
But they may know the chemicals, but a lot of them didn't know the effects on the embryo when they're pregnant and they're putting these chemicals on their body and things of
mm,
that nature. And it really falls down to how Western civilization is designed and is designed in a matrix format of stereotype. So you as a person, black male, Asian male, whatever, you have a stereotype to fit in. Okay. Fit in that stereotype to make others comfortable.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
And when it comes to the stereotype of woman and the many different culture groups that are out there for them to be inside of, sometimes they work, sometimes they don't work. Every woman has an extreme uniqueness. Every uterus is designed differently and has a different nervous system above it. Okay. And these nervous synapses, there's more nervous synapses on a woman's uterus than there is in their brain. So
mm,
and each woman is different. Every woman is different. So that's one thing that's very important to know. And we've lost our footing on as a human race. on the planet right now with agreements with each other, with how we go about marital situations.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we've lost our minds. So I
Mm-hmm.
definitely had to produce this in response to us as a solution to all the podcasts. Uh,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, even with what's happened with the whole black leadership thing, every single black leader has been taken down by a uterus.
Mm-hmm.
Majority of them, 70% of them.
Mm-hmm.
So
White too.
huh?
White too.
Yeah, white too. I mean, come on, they're being taken down left and right too,
Yeah.
and getting their money slaughtered and all of this. And I will say the uterus is a violent scientist, not only just a mad scientist, but a violent.
She takes no shit.
Yeah, So you got
I
to
ain't
be
scared
very
of you,
careful.
mother. But this is good stuff, brother. I mean, we're gonna have a conversation and figure this out. Community, let us know in the chat, or not in the chat, but in the comment section. You know, what did you think about this? Would you like to see more on this, and take a deeper dive into this and understand there are two volumes of this. Nothing like this exists in the world. It's the first of its kind. It's the first of its kind. So there's a novelty that comes with it, which makes it sometimes difficult for people to get with it. But I guarantee you that this will be this work that Brother Keenan has put together, both the Kicked Out of Heaven and the Encyclopedia on the Alchemy of Women, uh, will 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 be the work that everyone is talking about and referring to 50 years from now, 100 years from now. So teach your children this. Learn what you need to know. How did we get here? What can we do about what has happened to us? Nothing's wrong with it. Something happened to us. What was it? Did we participate in our own demise? These are questions that we don't like to talk about. What
Mhm,
role did we play? In our in being self saboteurs. Look at your
mhm,
own life.
mhm,
Oh, I'm angry because I'm angry at black men. Okay, well, why? What like attracts like? What what energy are you carrying? What genetic code are you carrying that you keep attracting men, situations, or circumstances that are abusing you?
mhm.
Not saying it's your fault, but I'm saying it's your responsibility to figure it out. And just being angry, nobody solves a damn thing just being angry. You have to
Right,
be a thinker.
right. And I'm
You have to
glad you
be a
stated
thinker.
that. And I want to go back to the last image that you saw, which was the map of the open country of a woman's heart. The book is actually designed for a better understanding in love. Okay. So that's why I go so deep into the areas of the definitions of girls' names and what they're correlated to with certain states, and also their cities, and also their songs after these girls' names. The majority of girls' names have a have some type of plant behind them, or an animal, one or the other, or an insect, like a Vanessa is a monarch butterfly, for instance. Um, they also have a song. Usually these songs are in the genre of soft rock. Um, and they span eons. And then there's also some type of poem that you'll probably find from the medieval time periods, or embedded inside Shakespeare. And I have the majority of those inside the book. You can never say that you have all the information pertaining to a subject. Even as an author, you can't do that, because there's stuff out there that didn't make the ship. Okay. But for what did make the ship, um it's an appreciation line. I do hope, not the Pandora's box hope, but I am going to say hope that females have a far more appreciation, and there's a way to build that appreciation pertaining to the character of who they are. So with a
Hmm.
heather being a flower, go find the flower that is a heather. That's the genus name of that flower. Put it in the house, give it to her, you know, find Heather City, because there's probably a Heather, Minnesota. Drive her to that city, and it might be a cheap hotel, but just because the city is named Heather, she'll, it was going to stick
Mm-hmm.
into her memory more. There may be a Saint Heather, and that Saint Heather the feast day of that saint will also be a like invisible birthday for her.
Mm-hmm.
Even though she may not have been born on that feast day, you can still utilize the energy of that day because it's correlated to the name Heather, and
Gotcha.
she's named Heather.
Nice.
You see what
Nice.
I'm saying? So there's a
Nice.
whole dating. It's a complexity system of
Absolutely.
romanticism, that
Yes.
I provide. I've mathematically designed it, I guess, and it's in here. And
All
I
right.
do explain all those elements in the intro. So to thoroughly understand how to use this encyclopedia, you're gonna have to read the intro.
Give the web address again, brother, before we sign off.
TheWoman'sAlchemy.com, and get
The
them before
woman's
they're gone, because I do not have a
alchemy.com,
lot
and also
left. So
there's a
TheWoman'sAlchemy.com.
description, and there's a link. Sorry, there's a link in the description below in the YouTube, and of course on Facebook. Hey, Keenan, every time we do it, it's an absolute blast, brother. You are researchers. You're a philosophers. I love you. I appreciate you, brother. We'll see you next time, family, on First Frequency of Oneness, Shock Metaphysics.
All
Only
right.
here, only first.